Well, this is my thought.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Yes.
At a rehearsal dinner, or maybe right before you walk down the aisle, they give everyone a tablet.
Oh.
And you have to vote. Do you think these two should get married?
Oh God. What?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then,
nuts.
unless you get 80% or more, you cannot legally get married, and it's called
I
off.
hope you have that at
80%?
your next wedding.
Yeah, I can do it now. I already don't have to take the vote.
He's not having another wedding ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
We can also do should Jason get divorced? We can do a tablet on that.
There you go.
Are there? Like it would be anonymous though, right?
It's anonymous.
100% anonymous.
And I think people would
wow.
be because they're like, if anyone have any reason why these two shouldn't get wed, speak up. And that never happens or rarely happens,
or people do it as a joke.
or it's only in the movies. But like, have a tablet. Let's go ahead and vote it up real quick. And if you don't have 80% more that believe in you, can't do it.
Okay.
And family gets a little extra vote.
Oh, there. Yeah.
Because they have to deal with it.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I think
Deal
we'd
with
be
it.
surprised because I've definitely seen people that got married. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, Jared. Would you think if you did have the tablet on your first two marriages, you would have gotten more than 80% of the vote?
first one, no. I'm almost positive, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Second one, I would have got 80%. So, I mean, it's not foolproof. I'm just saying that I think at least some input.
Well, I think that some people are going to, just like mine, so you don't have to lash out at me, but some people are going to think a lot of times like I think you're going to experience people with the rushing. It seems like it was quick. That would be one of the things that I would think would have some hesitation to a lot of people. Any type of quick marriages, including myself, would definitely get a red flag.
But in our culture, though, in the Mormon faith, I mean, again, the divorce rate's super low. I'm trying to bump that average up.
Doing good.
The average engagement is 3 to 6 months max.
Wow, I know why.
But
Well,
is
that's
that
probably part of
for
it.
is that for first marriages? Because
Well, there's usually not a lot of second marriages.
Right.
Yeah, just in general.
Because I would have voted yes for one and no for the other.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You see,
okay, interesting.
Here's the
And that's-
issue.
and you're saying that based on what
And
you
you
knew
don't
at the
know
time.
which one. You don't know which one I'm talking about.
Oh.
Oh, I
dang
think you
it,
said
we
for the
wanna know.
first.
No, I said one voted yes for one, no,
No
for the other.
Okay.
I'm not revealing which.
And I'm not
Okay.
saying
That
I'm
makes
voting for
sense.
that. I'm just saying, knowing what I know now and what people told me after the fact, the first one, I don't think I would have got 80%. The second one, I would have.
Okay.
But would you have got, because you said your family and then friends, so some of their friends are not in the Mormon church. But I will say this, and this is my belief, so don't try to
you're fine,
downgrade
Jason.
my
Don't-
belief.
We share our opinions in the nest.
And we know you never downgrade beliefs, so go ahead.
My belief.
What are we doing here? Is this happening?
I don't.
Yeah.
You never toe the line.
My,
Not you.
my belief in the Mormon church is the reason why you get engaged so quick is because you cannot have sex before marriage. And yes, I know that other religions do that too, but it seems like the Mormons really enforce it and they really abide by it. So it can mess up when you're in the moment and you want it so bad and it's the best thing ever. You want it quicker. Do you not agree with that?
Of course, I've always
Yeah,
and
he
and
says
even
that.
people,
He does.
even like people in our church, like a bishop or something, would say, "Hey, you're trying to stay chaste or whatever before you get married, so that we don't they don't even encourage long engagements."
Yeah.
They're like, or I remember when my sister was engaged to her husband, my dad was like, "You're coming home," because they're all off to college together and they lived in the same dorm. They're both good people, but he's like, "There's no way if you're going to get married because of scheduling, like 8 or 9 months from now, that you're not going to have sex." So he's like, "You're coming home."
Yeah.
And he brought her home.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, absolutely, of course.
I don't know if that's the best thing or not. I mean, I think that I think statistically it says that, like, after you're together a certain amount of time, you may be better off. Although I did see the statistic that if you live together before marriage, it actually ends up in a greater chance of divorce somehow.
Which is so
I don't
counterintuitive,
understand
but
that.
it's true.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
it seems like, the sexual part just seems to be on. There's another level and aspect to that and a connection with that. And without that before, and I know a lot of people, you're not supposed to promote that before religion, but for me, before, that's such a huge important part too, as well, is that that could be a make or break at some point.
Well, also, I would like to see the stats, and I don't know if they exist. If two people are virgins, if both are virgins when they get married, they have a higher success rate and they're religious of staying together. Because the people that I know that have been married for a long time, they both were virgins when they got married. Like, because I married two people who didn't grow up in our church, so obviously they just lived like a normal type lifestyle. And so I don't know if that, I'm not blaming them at all. I'm just saying I wonder if the people I know that have been married in my church for a long time, They both grew up in the they both
But
grew up
there's a
in the
lot of
church.
people in
Yeah,
your
that's
church
the
that
thing.
have been married
Yeah.
a long time on both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but most of them grew up in the church. They got married to somebody in the church. They believed the same thing their whole life, and they waited till they got married.
But
Both of them.
the thing is that I have an issue with is the variables are there's two separate variables there. It's the church and the virgin. Take somebody that are just virgins without any religious
Sure.
aspect, and then see what happens. Because for me, I'm telling you, I would be wondering what it's like so hard. That's terrible. I just said the wrong.
But to be fair,
I would be wondering what it was like with somebody else.
So hard.
In my mind, thinking hard.
and in my pants, maybe.
Thinking a lot. Yes.
But would you not say, to be perfectly honest, and I'll just ask the guy, Katie, you can answer too, but for
Sure,
the
I
guys
don't
in here,
care.
do you still not do that? Do you still not think, I wonder what it would, not that you're like, oh, I want to have an affair, but do you not see like somebody trying like, well, I wonder what that would be like?
Yes, but,
So I don't think it
but
ever
it's a
ends.
different extent because in my mind, I know what it is. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. Okay, cool. But but when you completely don't, I would be wondering, I hate to say it, harder.
Much harder. So hard.
Sounds creepy. God.
But would you be on
does.
board to the voting thing? Let's just say, I mean, just suspend reality.
Yeah, I do.
I'd be
as long as
curious of the
it's-
results. It
but
has to be anonymous.
It has to be anonymous, and I have to know that there would be no way that you would ever find out
Right.
because you would never come back from that.
Right.
Like that would be the end of your if you voted no, that would be the end of your friendship, end of your family members.
Well, you could do it now.
Do you know?
could do it now, technically. You can send like an Instagram voting out to your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
could.
but can't
Oh,
you
yeah.
tell?
But
who
before,
voted?
well, you
There's ways
could.
to do
yeah.
anonymous polls
you,
online.
yeah, you could
You
do
do
anonymous.
anonymous polls,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you could do that ahead of time, and
You're like,
instead
be
of,
honest, please.
instead of arranging the wedding and all that,
Well, of
do
course.
it before.
It's just funnier if you're
Yeah.
there and they're like, man, I'm sorry, you only
Never
got
mind.
79% of the vote. Like,
And you know what Jason would do? Jason would say, it's totally anonymous. Just sign up for the account with your email, cell phone number, and address.
Yes, you would.
And then revenge
Yeah, how
on
about
anybody that voted the wrong way.
So how about yes for your next marriage, Jared?
no, I don't know about that.
What do you need to know?
What are you talking
I'm
about?
saying,
now?
I decided to support my boy. That's what
No,
I'm
you
saying.
might-
Can never be on the board.
Oh my gosh, you're already voting yes on a marriage that
No.
doesn't
I'm not even
exist.
talking
Who gave
about
the best
that, though.
compliment the other day?
Yes, you did.
Yes,
No, you're
I
my-
did.
you're my-
I did.
Okay.
Squid
I'm
support.
supportive. Yes.
Whatever.
You are a supportive person. I'm not
He
talking
can
about
be
that,
your
though.
boy, but he encourages bad behavior
Oh
and
my
bad
God.
decisions.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants me to be the white Nick Cannon.
Right
Yeah.
now, I vote no, so your vote is just null and void. I canceled you out.
Well,
I'm
if
not
I can cancel it, no, that's all I
No,
care
Squid's
about.
not on the dating board.
He's not
or
on the
the
dating
long-term
board.
relationship board.
What was
No.
your question?
No, see, you're not understanding this time. Matt, I'll come back to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you vote on a scenario where, would you be in favor of a scenario where people that are invited to your wedding can vote whether you get married or not?
I'd absolutely be for that.
Yeah.
I would support it. If I went to a wedding and somebody was doing that, I would applaud them for that.
Yeah.
Because there's been multiple weddings that I've been to that I've been in the bridal party for, that I was the best man for.
Yeah.
That I was like, this ain't gonna make it.
That's crazy.
And I was right.
Yeah.
I do have one tiny caveat
Before
to
you
it,
ask
though.
the question, let me just ask this real quick.
Yes.
If you want to open it up to everyone else, 800-682-1075, are you for or against having a voting platform where people can vote on whether someone should be married or not, friends and family that are invited to the wedding? Just yes or no. 800-682-1075. We'd love to hear your opinion right now. Sorry, Katie, go ahead.
My one caveat to voting yes or no on the tablet, I would have to make sure that I was sober when I did it because I
yeah.
tend to
Yeah.
get into full-blown wedding mode where I'm like, this is the greatest union I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
As I'm downing champagne and eating hors d'oeuvres, you know, like
Yeah.
getting dressed up and excited. We're heading to the wedding, like that kind of excitement. I'm like,
Yeah, it is exciting.
yes, this is great.
Yeah.
So I would have to do it maybe like the day before.
Okay.
Do you know to know? Because
Sure.
Once I'm excited about it, there's no turning back.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't. I think it's a terrible idea.
You don't like it?
I like it for the funniness of it and
Yeah.
the entertainment factor of it. In real life, no, I don't like it because other people outside of you of your relationship don't know what really goes on between you two and what you have and
I
what
just assume it's
connection. and-
way worse than what I'm saying. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I just assume it's way worse than what I'm saying.
But family members have a bigger pull or have a bigger weigh in, and they hopefully have seen you. You know,
yeah, they've
behind
seen,
closed
but
doors.
I don't.
They still
think
don't know.
They still
100.
don't know. 'cause
They would
you
know
have-
more though.
You
Yeah.
have an ultimate connection with somebody else. Why do we have to? You know, I understand getting some advice and getting some opinions from others, but ultimately it's your life and you decide what the
Oh.
connection is for you. And then if that's going to determine, family members and everybody else of your direction, we always, when we look at people have other agendas, they don't see things the way you might see things. And so it's, to me, dangerous.
This is why I think it is one of the reasons I think it's really great to have siblings, because siblings do not care about your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Yeah.
will straight up tell you that person, you can hang out and have fun with them, but they're not going to be a part of our family.
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of siblings, I know not everybody is, but a lot of
No,
siblings
yeah.
are like that. And they will be brutally honest because they grew up with you. They know you. Nobody knows you better.
Well, my brother Abe, his default, and he's been, I guess, maybe right, but like no matter what, it's no.
Okay,
No
well,
matter,
maybe
it could
he's
be
been
Mother.
right.
It could be Mother Teresa. He's like, I don't know. She seems a little too service orientated. I'm like, all right.
Well, I told my brother no, and he didn't listen.
See,
So.
but that's
And
the
that
thing is
ended
that
horribly.
you're going to do what you want to do inevitably.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
Jason was
When
saying.
people,
Yes.
but I want to be legally binding.
Oh, well, it's not
Where-
just taken into consideration.
No, this is if you don't get 80% of the vote, you cannot get married. You can stay together. You just can't get
Right.
married.
Oh, see, I thought it was like you just took it into
That's
consideration.
another level. That's my personal thing, but
Okay.
you can just leave it at that.
All right.
800-682-1075. Are you in favor of allowing people invited to your wedding to vote whether or not, anonymously, that you should get married or not? Let's go to Sheets. Are you in favor of it or not? Sheets.
I'm in favor. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
So
And-
you would find it acceptable for everybody else to make an opinion about your relationship to your marriage and something they might not see that you do?
I mean, I think it would be assumed that there'll be people that would not agree with it, but I would also think that the people attending my wedding would be the ones who want the best for me, who want to see me happy, right? So therefore, I would assume that they would vote for what they think is in my best favor, like not necessarily what they think, putting aside their own emotions. But at the same time, the more you know, right? I mean, ultimately, it's up to you to go with it, whatever, but the more you know. I kind of wish that I had that at my wedding.
Well,
Oh. Are you currently married or are you single or what? What's going on now?
No, I'm divorced. 7
Yeah.
years now.
Okay.
7-year itch right there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right, Sheets. We know you were named after Sheets gas station. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's not true.
It's
I don't
a privilege, though.
think. Yeah,
It's an
it
honor.
really is. Excuse me, Taylor. Are you in favor or can't even say marriage without
He can't.
coughing?
He can't. This is revolting to him.
Someone else say it.
Marriage.
You're in favor of that thing people do expensively?
That you're never allowed to do again.
I'm not
that
allowed
one.
to do it anymore. No, of people voting on whether or not you should get married.
I'm all in for it.
Okay, and what do you like about it?
Well, it would have saved me a lot of heartache if I would have had my entire family, have a poll on it. Because, $10,000 later and a divorce, custody battles, and everything else,
Mm.
Lord, I could have saved myself some trouble.
Yeah, but did
feel you.
did your family did you know or have a hint that they were against this marriage, or would they have been supportive at the time?
Absolutely against it. It
Oh,
was
wow.
pretty much a shotgun wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did anybody tell you beforehand that it was a bad idea privately?
Absolutely.
Oh, and he
Okay.
just did what he wanted
Yeah.
anyway.
My family stopped talking to me for about a year after I got married.
So,
Wow.
so even if people voted at your wedding, you would have just done it anyway.
You know,
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
No.
that's why it has to be legally binding.
I see.
You can be together, but you can't get married.
Okay.
All right, Taylor, thank you. I remember being at a wedding. I'm not going to say who. Y'all don't know him anyway. Years ago. And I knew one that I didn't know because I didn't know the people that well, but I went to the wedding. I was a friend of the family. And the groom's family looked depressed at the wedding reception. 'Cause
Oh, boy.
everyone was just like, and they're
Ugh.
not depressed people. They're all like, I'm like, Mom, Dad, what's going on? Like, they're totally against this marriage. I'm like,
Oh.
I said, did they tell the son? Like, yep. And they got divorced like within a year.
Oh.
Also, it's pressure if you know your parents are and families against it. That puts a lot of pressure on then you're like trying to defend all the time. But
Yeah.
they try to tell him and he didn't listen. Because he's in love. Julia, are you in favor of allowing people to vote on whether or not you can get married?
Yes.
Oh.
Jason, it's a great idea.
How come? How come you're in favor?
All these divorcees are calling you.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, and my favorite part is they're like, man, it could have saved me some heartache. My family told me before I got married not to do it, but
Right.
they're trying to save you heartache.
Well,
Right.
Jason, you know Jared texted the support group to call in and
Is this your divorcee to support group?
Yeah, it is. It's like, please call tomorrow at this time.
Divorce is anonymous.
Support me.
Come on. But Julie, have you been divorced?
No,
Oh.
but having issues.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so you'd be in favor.
Ooh, having issues.
But you can also have people vote on. You might say you want people to vote on it because you're very confident in your relationship and you'd like to see, 100%. See, everyone supports it.
Julie, how long have you been married for?
Almost 9 years.
And are you separated or are you just going through tough times?
Going through tough times. I think majority of the time, like when you're in a relationship and you get excited, you're getting married, you're blinded by the love that you share with this person. You're blinded by all the red flags that other people may see. So I think doing a poll, they can voice those opinions and kind of open your eyes a little bit more instead of, finding out later in a marriage or in a relationship, if kids are involved, that, those red flags should have been brought up a long time ago.
Absolutely.
Did anybody do that for you before you got married? Any of your family or friends say anything to you?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I will say this. I don't know your situation. If there's something really terrible going on, I get it. But I would encourage you to do whatever it takes to stay married.
Coming from the guy that got divorced twice.
But
Yeah.
he's always,
I've always been, I've always been like, especially kids are involved. If there's some grain of love there, build upon
So would
that.
you have rather have stayed married from the very start then? I mean, and
Yeah,
now that you
I
can
mean-
look back now, would you have rather have just always been
Yes.
really?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that about the particular person necessarily. I'm just saying I would rather, my goal in life was to get married and be married like my parents were for 50 years, have our kids, and have that stability. I'm like, probably I can't speak for everybody. Probably before I met everybody, the most pro-marriage person you could ever meet. Not so much anymore. No, but I'm pro people trying to work it out, though. I really am. Because the grass isn't greener, and then also it's a whole bunch of things you got to deal with.
And probably harder for you to answer that now only
Yes, of
because
course.
you have a son from your second marriage.
Right.
So it's like, how do you pretend?
Yeah,
like, you
no.
can't
I mean, I would like to have
pretend,
all three
but yeah,
kids and
sure.
everything the same with the kids. And I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about the two exes at all. But yes, my goal was to get married and stay married and not ever have to not be married or go through a divorce. It's the worst. All right, thank you, Julia. Good luck with everything.
Yeah.
Kimberly, are you for or against allowing people to vote on whether or not you can get married?
I'm against it. I'm with Jason on this one.
Yeah, how come?
I'm just pro-love 100%. And, I mean, I'm a divorce. I've been divorced for about a year and a half now. I've got 2 kids. I'm 27. I got married at 19 years old. I was blinded, so if no one told me that, or someone told me not to get married, I would have done it anyways. But even now, through all the heartache that I've been through, I'm going to support someone loving someone. If I don't know what happens behind closed doors, I just know at that wedding, if I'm taking a poll, I know that they love each other, or else they wouldn't be doing this.
Let me rephrase my opinion.
Jason
In
doesn't
your
believe in love.
situation, you should have had the tablets.
You need the tablet. And the
I'm
thing
kidding.
is, Kimberly, what we're saying is, this is the important part. I was kind of joking at first, but I think it's more important. It's legally binding. So whether you're in love or not, they say, Kimberly, you can't get married. You only got 25% of the vote. And so you can't get married. You can still date each other and be in each other's life. If you want to have kids together, that's fine. You just can't get married.
The legally binding changes it 100%.
Because it's like, well, we're going to do it anyway.
Right.
No, you're not.
I think most people would do it anyway if it was just like, let me just take the poll and take the temperature of the audience or the congregation.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And then you can have like the record for like the lowest support. 1% voted for you, and it was yourself. You can't vote on your own anyway. Adam, are you for or against allowing people to vote on whether or not you can get married?
I'm against it.
And why is that?
So I was married for 17 years, got 3 beautiful kids out of it. But if our friends had voted on it, we probably never would have gotten married in the beginning.
Oh.
So you're because the kids and what you got out of the marriage, you're still satisfied about your life, and that's the thing. I mean, there's going to be changes and whatnot.
It turned out great.
All right.
Okay, no good.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. Faith, are you for or against allowing people to vote on whether or not you're married, to get married?
Definitely against it.
Yeah. Are you married, divorced, single? What's up?
I mean, I'm separated, but I believe everything happens for a reason, so it doesn't really, I don't think everybody's opinion should contradict whether or not you get married if you love somebody.
Okay.
And maybe we should just accept that in today's society, it's acceptable. Typically, the average American will have 2 divorces. So you go into the marriage knowing that this will last, hopefully, successfully, for 10 years or more. Then, if you get divorced, that's the norm. And then you have a new marriage. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, and interesting that you say that, Jason, because there was a brand new study just released that 2 in 5 people do not believe in marriage anymore. Like, they don't think that it has to be.
That's
Well,
40%.
Well, think
That's a
about this
lot.
out of
They
this
just
group
don't have
right
to.
here.
Yeah.
We got 5 people. Jared doesn't believe in marriage so far, and I don't think you have to have the title of marriage to stay together.
I'm not saying I don't believe in marriage. It just hasn't worked out for me. Don't say that for me.
Oh.
I just know it's going to be difficult.
Okay.
But yeah. And one last one real quick. Justin, he's an officiant. So you officiate weddings. What are your thoughts on it? Should the wedding party be able to vote on whether or not this couple gets married?
Well, I think they should. I think it's a good thing. Maybe something that we have lost in the past is possibly that man asking the parents, for permission and that weighing in on it. And I think perhaps involving family and friends is healthy for the long term of the marriage. And the legally binding thing, I mean, that's an officiant kind of has that power anyway, like, hey, you shouldn't get married, and so transferring that and making it more of a forum is very interesting.
Thank you. Now, Justin, have you ever officiated a wedding? You're like, oh, this is not good.
Yes.
Yeah. I got you.
I think everybody should do the pre-marriage counseling because
sure.
even, if you're doing that with your priest or your officiant, like this guy was just saying, they absolutely can tell. And they know which issues you're working through and which ones are too big to overcome. I mean, it's very eye-opening.
No, yeah.
I encourage it for everybody.
And we had that too, and we did it, but whatever. I do think it's a good idea, though. I really do.
And not just like, we went 1 or 2 times. I mean, like, they need to know you.
Right. Also, or you can do this. Another idea is you ever see the show Scared Straight, where there's kids that are acting up, and they send them to and they're putting them with prisoners, and they're like, yeah. Send them to people who've been divorced, and they're like, you really want to get married? That's what it looks like. And then they show like their 401k depleted.
You're done. You're done. You're done.
They show the house they used to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like. I'm just saying, give them the full picture. Let them decide at that point. Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not all marriages are like that.
Can off the air, can we vote on people weddings that we know that people got married if we would have voted yes or no?
Sure,
okay,
absolutely.
Great.
Jared, I feel like you just created your next side hustle.
Yeah, you right.
Oh, yeah.
Scared Straight. Marriage edition.
Marriage edition.
That'd be a funny show.
Right. One man's journey into divorce. Right.
No, Katie, divorces.
Divorce.
Yeah, thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Matt,
Excuse
for correcting
me.
it.